What's up, my people? This week we have The Marvels hitting theaters, and while the movie seems to be generating as much fan excitement as a mandatory lecture on the US tax code, it is the first time we will see Monica Rambeau Photon as a superhero in the MCU. And considering she's an underrated character with an interesting history, we're going to give you her comic origin and show you how she went from being the first female Captain Marvel to taking the name Photon. Eris and I will also be offloading our reactions and hot takes on the Marvels movie in next week's podcast, along with a great story about the discovery of a hidden multi-million-dollar comic collection from guest Jeff Itkin, the Golden Age guru. So if you're not already subscribed to Variant the Podcast, you can check us out right here. It's a great time. But before we dive into the origins of Monica Rambeau Photon, we've got something for all you entrepreneurs and creatives. A digital and online presence is a must for any business, so having the right tools to shape your website is crucial, which is where today's sponsor, Hostinger, comes in. Hostinger's website builder puts the power in your hands by helping website builders to create a business site or even an online store with the help of AI. No coding skills or technical expertise is required, making it simple to create your own pro-looking website filled with the latest hotness. In fact, I've recently been working with it myself for an upcoming Variant project using one of their 150 designer-made customizable templates along with the AI assistant. And I'm digging all of it. It's hassle-free, and the AI writer even helps you write an SEO-friendly copy. On top of that, Hostinger's AI heat map also helps to predict visitor behavior, and you can optimize campaigns with insights from Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, Facebook Pixel, and visitor remarketing. So if you've been holding off on that new website, check out Hostinger's website builder at hostinger.com/variant. And for a limited time, use promo code VARIANT to score an exclusive 10% discount on all yearly plans. And that discount is on top of the Black Friday sale they're running throughout all of November. But if you're watching after the fact, no worries, the coupon code will still be valid after Black Friday. Just click the link in the description below. All right, Monica Rambeau was created by Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. and first appeared in the Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16 in 1982. She was actually the very first Captain Marvel, but she was also the first human to carry that mantle. That's right, we all know the first Captain Marvel was a dude, but Carol Danvers didn't become Captain Marvel until 2012. Prior to that, Danvers was Miss Marvel, Binary, and Warbird, so Monica is the real OG. So let's dive into the Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16 and see how her story begins. The issue starts off with Peter's spider sense going off because of how attractive Monica Rambeau is, blurting out, "Who is that lady? I've never seen anyone like her before." And while he can't believe that she'd be presenting any sort of a threat, Spidey keeps an eye on her because she's dressed really well in a not so great part of New York. At least, that's the webhead's excuse for checking her out. But that thought process actually turned out to be right because two dudes come up to her and start hitting on her before they try to steal her purse. She then screams, "My purse! Give it back, you filthy creep!" And as they run off with her purse into the alley, she chases them, but when they get to the alley, they actually pull out knives. But to their surprise, they are actually dealing with someone who has superpowers, so she takes one of them out with ease while the other one tries to run away. However, he doesn't get very far because he is stopped by Spider-Man, who saw the whole thing. Now, with both men taken care of, Spider-Man says, "So much for those two. The lady looks okay, but my spider sense is buzzing more than ever. Why? She's a good fighter, but she's surely no danger to me." He then decides to just confront her and see what's going on, saying, "Hey lady, you handled yourself pretty well, but..." And before he could get out anything else, she turns around and shoots him with some sort of energy blast that sends him flying backwards. Monica then realized who he was and runs over saying, "Oh my god, it's Spider-Man. I've read about you. I didn't mean to. I thought it was the other mugger behind me. I just reacted instinctively. I could have killed him." Now with Spider-Man knocked out, she says to herself, "If I can't get this power of mine under control soon, the whole world could be in trouble." She then uses her powers to transform into her superhero suit. From there, we see her make her way to the top of the Empire State Building, with Spider-Man finally waking up as we see her glowing on the top of the building. As the comic says, high above the noise and confusion of the city she stands, her form aglow with power beyond man's wildest dreams. Call her Captain Marvel. We are then given a flashback accounting for her origin. We learn that just weeks ago in the office of the Harbor Master, Monica was asking why her promotion was passed over again. He tells her, "Come on, Rambeau, you know we only had 4 captaincies to fill this year." She replies, "And I was better qualified than any of the men chosen. Why was I passed over?" He replies, "If you must know, it's because your methods are too unorthodox. I go by the book, Monica, and I expect my men to do the same." She says, "Your men? That's the real issue, isn't it? You don't want to see a woman in charge of a patrol boat." To which he replies, "I will pretend I didn't hear that accusation, Rambeau." I mean, based on that, I can't imagine why the character's in the Marvels movie.
Right.
Anyway, she then storms out as he says, "Oh, and Rambeau, I don't want to hear any of your smart remarks echoed in the news media this time." She says, "Don't worry, sir. Nothing I do will make the patrol look bad." After this, she makes her way to her office and is greeted by an old man waiting for her, introducing himself as Professor Andre Leclerc. She says, "Professor, of course. Grandfather always spoke highly of you. What brings you to the States?" He shares that he's there to ask her for her help. You see, this professor devised a process for drawing energy from other universes and dimensions. He was on the verge of a breakthrough when he discovered that a South American dictator actually wanted to use his discovery as a weapon. He tried to dissuade him, but of course nothing worked, at which point his former assistant took over his work to help the dictator finish it. And now the professor is asking Monica for help to stop them. Now, it makes no sense why this professor would ask Monica to help him stop a dictator from using his device as a weapon, but hey, I'm sure it serves the story. Monica tells the professor, "I don't know, this sounds pretty big. What do you expect me to do?" Exactly my point. He says, "Frankly, I'm not sure. I was hoping you could think of some way to convince the authorities. I had heard that you tend to approach things in a less orthodox manner than most." So yeah, it makes perfect sense. Anyway, long story short, Monica decides to go undercover and make her way onto this secret research base on an oil rig where she uses her, let's call it, power of persuasion to get on board. But eventually her cover is blown and she has no choice but to try to destroy the weapon by Hulk smashing it with her fist, which causes a huge explosion and flash of light that somehow teleports her back to a waterfront in New Orleans. This incident phases Monica into a storage house where she finds a bunch of costumes on a rack. As she says, "These racks of costumes must have been left over from Mardi Gras. I'll come up with something decent enough to be seen in." And from those costumes, she creates her first crime-fighting suit. Monica then slowly begins to realize she has incredible new powers given to her by the extra-dimensional energies released when she destroyed the professor's machine. Powers such as converting into any form of energy within the electromagnetic spectrum, traveling through the vacuum of space, being able to travel at light speed, energy manipulation, absorption and generation, and the list goes on. And with this new power set, Monica would become the first female Captain Marvel. Now, to close out her origin story, she would go on to defeat the evil dictator and stop him from using the professor's invention for evil. She would also go on to become a powerful member of the Avengers after that. So while this might not be the most well thought out origin story, it does tell us how she got her powers and took on the mantle of Captain Marvel. But how did she end up with the name Photon? Well, Monica served as Captain Marvel throughout the majority of her time with the Avengers. But in Avengers Unplugged issue 5, that changed. In the issue, Monica was being controlled by a villain known as the Controller through a chip implanted in her brainstem called a control disc. As you can see, the writers put a lot of thought into the names here as well. Anyway, at the same time, Genis-Vell, the son of the original Captain Marvel, Mar-Vell, became a member of the Avengers. And as the son of the original Captain Marvel, he felt it was his right to take his dad's mantle of Captain Marvel for himself. But Genis was actually the Captain Marvel the Controller was hunting, and he tried to use Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel to destroy him. A task she almost accomplishes, but Eros, Vision, and Deathcry step in to help free Monica of the control disc and defeat the Controller. Then at the end of the issue, Genis says to Monica as they were flying together, "Monica, I've been thinking, you seem like a lady who's got it all together. I mean, I was all set to pound that Turtog into primordial ooze, but you looked beyond your rage and saw the helplessness in its eyes. What I'm trying to say is you deserve the name Captain Marvel more than me." She replies, "Thank you, Genis, but the name is your legacy. Make your father proud. It's time I take control of my life and stop living in other people's shadows. I've been toying with a name change more suited to my abilities, and the name is Photon." And from there, Monica Rambeau's name became Photon, which I do agree was more than just a rebranding and really is a name that suits her power set more accurately. Having said that, the evolution of her name wouldn't stop there, as she took on the name Pulsar in Mighty Avengers issue 1 during the 2007 Civil War event. And then more recently, in Mighty Avengers Volume 2 issue 1, Monica adopted the superhero name Spectrum during Marvel's Infinity event. Carol Danvers ultimately became the new female Captain Marvel, a role she has carried into the MCU, but for Monica Rambeau's MCU superhero moniker, they did go with Photon. And it seems like her MCU power set will largely stay true to her comic roots. So let's expand on those powers a bit more, shall we? Monica Rambeau's powers in Marvel Comics are both unique and formidable, stemming from her ability to transform her body into any form of energy within the electromagnetic spectrum, such as X-rays, gamma rays, ultraviolet radiation, visible light, electricity, infrared radiation, microwaves, and radio waves, which again are abilities she gained after she was exposed to extra-dimensional energy. Anyway, this ability allows her to exhibit various superhuman capabilities. She can become intangible, allowing her to phase through objects, or become as hard as light, enabling her to strike with intense force. Monica can also fly at incredible speeds, surpassing the speed of sound and potentially approaching the speed of light. Additionally, she possesses possesses the ability to absorb energy, which can enhance her powers. Overall, Monica's control over her energy form also extends to the manipulation of these energies for various effects. She can project powerful energy beams, including laser-like emissions and bursts of heat or radiation. Her ability to transform into any energy type in the electromagnetic spectrum also means she can adapt her form to suit different situations, like using microwave energy for communication or ultraviolet light to illuminate dark areas. Monica's powers also grant her enhanced perceptions, enabling her to see and interact with various energy forms that are invisible to the naked eye. And this aspect of her power set makes her an invaluable asset in detecting and combating hidden or intangible threats. But despite the vast nature of her abilities, Monica's transformation into energy requires concentration and control, and excessive use of her powers can be physically taxing, necessitating a recovery period to regain her strength and stability. Something I'll be curious to see if they actually carry over into live action. Anyway, before we wrap up, here are some key Monica Rambeau reading recommendations to dive deeper into the character. You'll of course want to start with her first appearance and origin in The Amazing Spider-Man Annual 16, then check out Avengers 227 through 347 in the 1983 run, followed by Captain Marvel Volume 2 from the 89 to 94 run, Avengers Unplugged number 5 from 1996, and most recently Marvel's The Ultimate Series from 2015, where Monica plays a significant role. But that, my friends, wraps up our overview of the origin of Monica Rambeau, aka Photon. But what do you guys think of her comic book origin? And are you at all excited to see what they do with her in the MCU? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. But as always, we'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.